With all the people that you've ever met, all the, because when you're at the level that you're at, we mentioned Freeway Ricky Ross. These are your peers. These are people that and you deal with, and you guys have your own types of relationships. Was there anyone who got at a similar high level, who actually didn't get caught by the feds and ended up doing a ton of time or ended up dead? Did anybody ever actually, and you don't have to name any names, but did anyone actually slip under the radar and get away and sail off into the sunset?
There's a few guys who was able to, they made it, man. However they made it, man. But I know a whole bunch of good dudes. They didn't make it, man. They might have had a 10 or 15-year run. But guess what? It only take one time. It only take one time, man. And what amazes me out here now, though, Vladdy, is a lot of these rappers, right? They rapping about the dudes like me and others, you know what I mean? And our life stories, And I'm not mad at them for rapping about these stories, because they storytellers, But what I have an issue with is the information that's getting embraced and supported, and the stories that should be getting supported, produced on the TV screen, the TV series. For example, this white boy Rick, you familiar with the story out of Detroit?
Yeah.
So that story, right? Here go a guy, the whole Detroit know it. He was a rat, right? They do this movie about him, right? They do this movie about him. They put the money up, they produce it, they put it out there, right? He's supposed to be representing the culture, as they say, the culture, right? How can these stories be worthy of being produced, told to the world, but a story like my story, right, where the president grants me this clemency, writes me this letter, because I've already started from on the inside of having dialogue with younger guys and having an effect on some of them to make better choices. How is it that my story doesn't get told to the world, but white boy Rick's story, a bona fide rat, gets a movie done on his life story? This is something that I cannot understand, how this is happening in 2018 when you got authentic stories like my story. Again, my age separates me from Big Meech, Freeway Rick, Bo Bennett. We can go on and on, man. My story separates from them based upon facts. They didn't do what I did at such a young age, right? They didn't. I've saved lives from in prison. We've been mediators from different situations where lives was at stake. I've did all these things, but for some reason, the authentic stories, the industry don't want to tell. I'm confused with this. I just don't understand it. And this is my genre, though. Like when you get to talking about the streets, and you get to talk about dudes that's respected throughout the country. When you mention my name is at the top when it comes to that. So those are the things that out here, I sit back sometime and I question, and I'll be like, well, maybe they don't want the real to be told, though, Maybe maybe they want to breed and encourage being a rat. That's a possibility, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, look at Whitey Bulger. They made a movie out of him, and he just got killed at I think 89 years old with his eyes torn out and his mouth, his tongue torn out of him. You know, right when he got transferred to another prison.
They killed him the first day he was there. But let me say this too, man. When you talk about guys that was in the streets hustling and that was brilliant here, the most brilliant guy I ever met in the streets that was hustling was Michael Harris, Harry O, out of Los Angeles. That's the smartest, business-minded dude that I ever met that come from the streets. This dude thinking way back then in the early 80s was way ahead of the game. He came up with a play called Broadway Mike. He had Denzel Washington and all them a part of it. He had told me these ideas he had in his head, but this dude is so smart and brilliant. But again, you got a lot of brilliant and smart guys. They come from the inner city, man. We became D-boys, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, Harry O actually was the founder of Death Row. You know, I know all about his story.
I knew about Death Row before the streets knew about it, you know? And these ideas, you know, I seen these logos and these ideas he had with, you know, about this Death Row, and I heard about this guy, Snoop Dogg, and then I seen this Snoop Dogg dude on this deep cover. There's something called Deep Cover. And this was the guy that was telling me about it. I said, he a star. He's going to be a star. You know, so those stories, I was connected to these things. You know, these are people that I had personal relationships with that I slept in their house, that they trusted me in their houses. Like, I had a relationship with these dudes, but I was this 19-year-old, 18-year-old young kid hanging out with the big boys, man. And they respected me and because I was little, but I had a big heart, you know, and they liked the way I carried myself, you know.